Hello everyone. Thank you for visiting this link. I am Rinny. Today I'm going to present about comprehension instruction in content areas. Before I proceed, let me give you a little information about our topic. Frank Smith defined comprehension as the absence of confusion, while instruction according to the dictionary is the information telling how something should be done. So, our topic today will be telling us about the instructions or information on how we can comprehend something in content areas. The objectives of our presentation today are to introduce different kinds of comprehension and to present the effective instructional strategies in teaching reading. Text comprehension has been the most common academic goal. Further, teachers expected more. They were expecting subject matter learning, in which students understand text and they can extend their knowledge in subject area as well. Increased reading skills, where students were expected to become better readers, and at this part, teacher gave increasingly difficult texts. And the third expectation of teacher is knowledge application, where students were expected to apply knowledge constructed from the reading of subject text. It is no small thing teacher asked students to do. Teacher expected them to understand the author's intended meaning. At the same time, teacher expected them to learn more in each and every area taught to become progressively sophisticated readers and writers. And also, teacher requires students to apply newly constructed content knowledge in novel situations. This is not easy. The question is, what strategy did they apply to obtain these expectations? The strategy was telling students to read and understand, and that's all. And this is the main reason why their expectations were not being met. In order to meet the expectations of the teachers, they need to identify the need of the students. What do the students really need? The answer is they need real instructions. The real instructions include instruction that guides their progress through text. It also involves instruction that promotes learning, and it includes instruction that teaches them how to become better readers and writers and to provide adequate support for application of new learning. There are three levels of comprehension every student needs to achieve, according to Herbert's 1978. The first one is literal comprehension. This is the easiest level of comprehension. It refers to meaning derived from reading the lines, in which the reader constructs meaning that accurately reflects the author's intended message. In order to practice their critical literacy, teachers need to encourage students to go beyond literal comprehension and to develop their ability to comprehend something that is more difficult, such as the level of comprehension number 2 and number 3. What are those? Interpretive comprehension. It refers to meaning derived by reading between the lines, in which the reader perceives about intent or understands relationships between text elements that are not stated directly in the text. And the next one is applied comprehension. It refers to meaning derived by reading beyond the lines, in which the reader understands unstated relationships between information in text and information in his or her prior knowledge base. Applied comprehension is schema implicit. Answers to questions at this level require integration of new information into the reader's previous fund of knowledge from which new relationships emerge. So, these are the level of comprehension start from the easiest and the most difficult one that every student needs to obtain, because these three levels of comprehension represent all academic goals in reading. In order to obtain the academic goals in reading, which involve the three levels of comprehension, here are 4 instructional strategies teacher can use in the classroom. The first one is the Directed Reading Thinking Activity or DRTA. Second one is the Group Mapping Activity or GMA. The third one is the Directed Reading Activity or DRA. And the last one is Request. We will discuss these instructional strategies one by one. Let us begin with DRTA or the Directed Reading Thinking Activity. DRTA was introduced by Russell Stover in 1969. The purpose of this strategy is to develop higher-level thinking while reading, and over the years has received considerable attention as a recommended instructional strategy. It is adaptable for endless varieties of content areas and texts, and the key element of DRTA is prediction. These are the 5 steps of activities students need to do in connection with prediction. The first one, before reading the book, students need to make predictions about what they are going to read. The next one, they need to read the text to see if the predictions they made were accurate or useful. The third one, they need to reconcile their prediction with what they read. And they need to make revision or add prediction. And the last one, they need to read again. There are 5 steps in DRTA. The first one is identifying purposes for reading. At this step, students set individual and group purposes for reading as they create intertextual links by combining prior knowledge with information in text to predict what the text is going to be about. The next one is adjusting rate to purposes and material. It occurs along 2 dimensions, which are rate and flow of information, where students are invited to speculate about all the possible contexts into which the title might fit. And the second dimension is reading rate. The third step in DRTA is observing the reading. At this step, teacher and student need to contribute. For instruction to be effective, a certain amount of guided silent reading needs to be done in school. It is not wasted time. Teacher observation during that reading yields much valuable information about students' silent reading abilities and allows the teacher to assist those students who do need help. The next step in DRTA is developing comprehension. It occurs as students combine prior knowledge and new information to make predictions, read to confirm or adjust their predictions, and then draw conclusion and speculate during class discussion. And the last step in DRTA is developing fundamental skills and assessment. When the reading is completed, the teacher directs the class in developing skills that are appropriate to students' needs and instructional goals. Activities should not require students to write answers to literal questions about what they have just read and discussed. The quality of the discussions and the level of understanding students have achieved have gone well beyond literal comprehension already. Let us now proceed with the second instructional strategies, which is GMA, the Group Mapping Activity. GMA was introduced by Jane Davidson in 1982. The purpose of this strategy is to assist students in organizing information after reading. Maps are visual and written representation of readers' understanding of text. It has become relatively common in the classroom. The third instructional strategies is DRA, the Directed Reading Activity. DRA was introduced by Betts in 1946. It was designed to increase students' comprehension of text by removing barriers to comprehension, encouraging guided silent reading of text, and embedding skill development into lessons focusing on conceptual understanding. There are 5 steps in DRA. The first one is preparation for reading. There are 2 types of reader preparation. The first one is vocabulary presentation, in which selected words from the chapter are pre-told for the purpose of reducing or removing barriers to comprehension. The second part of preparation for reading focuses student attention on the subject matter of the text and engages student interest and participation. The second step in DRA is guided silent reading. It begins with a statement of purposes for reading given by the teacher. The purpose statement should be prepared in advance and should correspond directly to the teacher's instructional objectives. The third step in DRA is comprehension development. Comprehension development begins the moment we initiate the DRA lesson. It might appear in the form of discussion of the language of text such as vocabulary presentation, or we can also do sharing of prior knowledge. The fourth step in DRA is skill development and application. The skill development and application should follow logically and reasonably from discussion that has taken place and from the lesson objectives. It may in fact occur as part of the discussion during and immediately following reading. The last step in DRA is extension and follow-up activities. Sometimes it is difficult to decide where skill development and application ends and lesson extension and follow-up activities can begin. However, one activity is recommended for all subject areas, which is the 3-minute write or quick write. Very simple. The 3-minute write is 3 minutes of time at the end of a lesson or class in which students are asked to write about what they learned, what they didn't learn, what they understood, what they didn't understand, what they want more, and what bothered them. In short, to write about their immediate analysis of their learning and of the class period. Let us now discuss the last instructional strategy, which is the request. Request was introduced by Anthony Mansell. It was designed to increase students' comprehension through a process of reciprocal questioning between teacher and student. It is based on 2 important notions about constructing meaning from text, which are asking the right question is as important as knowing the right answer, and teachers' powerful models for students' behavior. Let me give you some examples on how we can apply the request instructional strategies in the classroom, which can show the teachers' powerful models for students' behavior in making requests. Teachers and students can take part in reading a book silently. After reading, the teacher closes the book and students are invited to ask as many questions as they wish about the text. However, they should be encouraged to ask teacher-type questions, and teachers are encouraged to answer all the questions as fully as possible in order to give powerful models for the students. After students giving questions to teachers, it's time for teachers to give questions to the students, and students should be encouraged to answer the questions as fully as possible as how their teacher did. This is just a very simple example on how teachers can become role model for students in terms of questioning in order to increase students' comprehensions toward the text. Through our discussion, these are the theoretical model that you can draw. There are three levels of comprehension, which are literal comprehension, interpretive comprehension, and applied comprehension. All of these levels of comprehension represent all academic goals in reading, and all of these can be achieved through instructional strategies which involve the RTA, GMA, DRA, and request. For the IFVL, let me read from Proverbs 4, verse 13. Hold on to instruction. Do not let it go. Guard it well, for it is your life. Back to our discussion. Without instructional strategies, without instruction, it will be very hard for teachers and students to reach the expectations. And in our life, it will be very hard for us to achieve our goals in life without instruction. And God gives us instruction through the Bible. So let us use our instruction to follow God's will in our life. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much and God bless you all.